You're listening to Hotepish with your host, Dwan B. Intelligent ish talk, intelligent shit talk, where we balance the profound with the profane. Political satire, celebrity and expert guests, information and entertainment, conversation and solutions. Leave your feelings at the door.
Live in the chat room. What's up, everybody that's here? Thank y'all for coming on in. Join in. We're going to be talking about the real LA today. Come on in the chat room. Tell us where you're coming from. Tell us what city you represent. B1. What's up, Tasha? Oh, yeah, I know you from LA. I saw that police chase yesterday. It looked like it was near you. Oh, that was on your block. I thought so. I was like, hold on, they turned down that street. Shit, 2 houses down. Shit. Yeah, I was watching that. I was watching them circle. I was hoping that police chase came down near, closer to my house. I like them police. Y'all know me. I love them police chases. You born and raised in LA. You done grown up seeing police chases on the news. Right after Laker games. What's up, New Ways, live from Chicago? Emmanuel Heath, what it do? Philip? Ashe, some chick named Star. Yeah. I'm on Clubhouse. I want to get some more things done with Clubhouse. We're gonna talk about that. We are gonna have to talk about that. What's up, Emmanuel Heath, B1 family? We're about to get in talking about it because y'all know I'm from LA, and it's been a lot of stories and a lot of broadcasts lately about LA, the women of LA, how hard it is to get here, how the people act. And I don't like what I've been hearing. What's up, Kendra Fountain? Hey, y'all, for y'all that heard the voiceover, that was Kendra on a voiceover. Dope. Thank you for that, Kendra, man. I appreciate Kendra's a LA person. Westchester High School with me. Todd Campbell, all of social media is the feds. You feel me? So, I understand Clubhouse is the feds, but so is YouTube, so is Facebook. So is Instagram, so is Twitter, and so is our emails. So is our text messages. They see it all. So we got a decision to make. Are we going to live our lives in fear of what they may hear? Or are we going to do what the fuck we going to do anyway? We know we need to speak in code. We know we can't say everything. We know what's understood shouldn't need to be said. But are we going to allow that fear to stop us from all communication? I'm not. Yeah, what's up, Chef Water? Our phones are the feds. You right, Star? Yeah, no. Kendra, you over-delivered with that voiceover. You did your thing. Isha sit here right next to me, Kendra, like, yeah, like for real. I got my wife from LA. She's not going to be on here, but she's sitting right here next to me. She's born and raised here in LA. So, yeah, I'm about to get up into it. We are about to talk about the real deal here in LA because, you know, I was listening to a recent broadcast where they was talking about, you know, how much money you need to live here in LA. And I heard these dudes, these callers calling in that said they lived in LA. But when I heard them talk, these cats been here for 7 years, 6 years. These cats lived out in Ontario. They lived in these adjacent roundabout areas that all the weirdos moved to when they can't afford to live in LA. You know, so I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and tell a real story. And I want to hear, because I'm the kind of person, if you from if I'm hearing about Chicago, I want to hear about Chicago from someone born and raised in Chicago. Because that's the person that's going to give me the actual factual. I mean the ones in the city, not the adjacent one. I don't want a nigga from Peoria, Illinois talking about Chicago. You know what I mean? If I want to hear some stories about people in St. Louis or Atlanta, especially Atlanta, I don't want to hear about Atlanta from some dude that moved down there in 2009 looking to get his ass ate out by another dude. I don't want to hear about Atlanta from one of them dudes. I want to hear about Atlanta from somebody who been in Atlanta since before the 96 Olympics. I want to hear about Atlanta from somebody who like lived on the same block as the Dungeon family like 10 years before the Dungeon family became a thing. Like that's where I want to hear it from. So gonna tell y'all about LA from here because what's up, Jeff Brown in the chat room? Let's start out talking about the culture. The gang culture, the regular culture, and all things in between. Because I've heard people say, look, LA ghettos ain't the same as ghettos around the rest of the country. Let's start off talking about that. And let's tell the truth. The ghetto is the ghetto is the ghetto. No matter what city you in, if there's a planned environment ghetto, it's gonna be ghetto as hell. So people come to LA and be like, they see the palm trees, they see the wide open streets. You know what I mean? They know how to dip past the potholes in Compton. And they be like, psh, LA ghettos, and they ain't got nothing on ghettos in the Midwest. Let me tell y'all, sit y'all asses down, all right? Just because it looks a certain way, don't mean it is that way. In other cities, look, y'all hoods shut down when the snow comes. Let's just tell the truth. Niggas ain't going out in 10 below weather to do anything. In LA, these niggas have 365 days a year of good weather to fuck you up. If you try it. Just look, yeah, LA, you will get done in on a sunny day under a palm tree with a movie being filmed on a one block over. That shit will happen here. Because I remember when I used to work in the clubs in Hollywood, this is where people used to always get messed up. I just work. Look, I'm an LA nigga when it comes to, like, really. I was that nigga if you knew me 10 years ago. I get you in any club in Hollywood. I don't care what night it is, any NBA party, any Halloween party, open bar. I was gonna walk you in past security. That's just me. And what we see oftentimes is people will come from other cities. They be like, I'm in LA. Matter of fact, I'm in Hollywood. I'm gonna throw my gang signs up and I'm gonna talk my shit because I'm in Hollywood, California. What's up, Brandon Tony? Craig Facts? You right, New Ways of Code make you want to shoot, but you motherfuckers don't shoot because you inside. It will be people that will come to Hollywood and they talk they ish, run they mouth. And one thing about LA, you don't have too many fights inside the clubs on Black Night because niggas paid all that money to get in. They ain't about to get kicked out early. But when the club is over, I done seen many a bad things happen. I was in front of Club Sugar one time. This was maybe about 10 years ago. Hollywood and Cahuenga. A nigga came up in a Rolls Royce Phantom, got out, and sprayed the fuck out of niggas coming out the club. 3 people got killed. Yes, the nigga had a drop top Phantom, $360,000 car, and sprayed up Cahuenga and Hollywood Boulevard. Yeah. This just a warning to you niggas is not from here. Y'all be like, oh, this is just LA, man. It ain't, man, they don't have a code. They don't really rough it like we do. Shit. I work mental health in this city. I worked South Central LA for over 15 years. South Central LA, that's everything south of downtown, north of Compton. All that shit in the middle. Yeah, Chubby, a Phantom. The nigga sprayed a nigga in a Phantom. And that's just one story. That's what got Club Sugar shut down. I could tell you another Club Guys and Dolls. Club Guys and Dolls used to be right across the street from the Beverly Center on you know where that Jerry's Deli used to be in Beverly Hills across the street from the Beverly Center? Yeah, I remember I was there one night and a nigga was in a Bentley GT. Had an issue with a nigga in the club, called valet. The valet pulled up with his Bentley GT. He popped the trunk and popped that nigga as soon as he walked out the club, put his shit back in the trunk and drove off. Yes, nigga, that's LA. That's LA. But I was making a point a little bit earlier about like different sides. I forgot where I was going when it came to the different sides of LA, because in LA, gang culture was born not because niggas were a bunch of rebels. They were born out of a protection for what's going on. Wait, first of all, before I get any deeper, like, share, and subscribe. Like this video. Please like the video, share, and subscribe. Get your Dr. John Henry Clark t-shirts. These motherfuckers have been selling. Every day I wake up, at least 5 or 6 of y'all around the world. I've sold some of these in Canada. I've seen some of these go out to Hawaii, to England. Shouts out to my brothers in the UK who bought this shirt. I guess he bought it for the family because I saw them like in all different sizes. Shouts out to y'all. Get your Scholars t-shirt. Y'all, a lot of niggas wear athletic jerseys on their back. I put the Scholars on our front because they the shit. And get your Hotepish hoodie, nigga. It's cold in the motherfucker out there. Get this shit. It's gonna help. Back to LA. Let me give y'all, Trayvon, you didn't miss that much. You didn't miss that much. So let me give you my background for why I'm talking about this. I'm born in LA. My parents were born in LA, mom and dad. Their parents weren't born in LA? Well, yes. On one side they were, on another side they weren't. My granddad came to LA in 1937 when he was 13 years old. He's still alive, 96 years old. My family originally got here from Michigan in 1920, sometime around there. My grandparents met at Jefferson High. My mom went to Crenshaw High. My dad went to Manual High. I went to Westchester High. So this city's deep in my blood. So it just be fucking me up when I see people who ain't from here misrepresenting my shit. I was raised over on the east side, 58th and Broadway, right by the 110 freeway. We're going to go on that history a little bit. Then I was moved over to the Crenshaw district, where they film Boys in the Hood. We used to ride our bikes down the street to watch them film Boys in the Hood when we was 10. I took this picture here from Baldwin Hills Scenic Overlook because that's where all the black people who got some shit going on in their life live in LA, where I moved to and I was proud to be a part of. So I want to break this all the way down because there's a lot of people who move here and they get things twisted and they end up getting things done the wrong way and they don't have good experiences here and they leave. I see this shit all the time. See, people always come here with high hopes and dreams and leave broke, decapitated, sad, hurt, and depressed and angry. So I want to make sure y'all don't go through them problems. What's up, Charlie Newhart in the chat room? Charlie from Craig Facts. What's up, Taisha SX? I gotta have Taisha on this show one day because you be pulling out them straps with them. And you telling women about the importance of self-defense. Gotta have Taisha on this show pretty soon because you tell that real deal about how to carry and conceal and do the real thing. Yeah, what's up, Chubby? Oh yeah, Chubby, you, even though I know you Nigerian, dog, man, you all LA. You all LA. You all LA. But yeah, but back to what I was saying about LA and about how the gang culture was started out here. A good documentary for you guys to watch that I think that captured it perfectly is a documentary called Bastards of the Party. It came out, I think, around like 2005, 2008, sometime around there. But look up this documentary called Bastards of the Party. I think that they got the most accurate depiction of how the street side work here in LA. I'm not gonna spend too much time on the street side because I'm not a street nigga. I'm a business nigga. I'm a comedian nigga. I was never in the streets, but I do want to give you guys some kind of politics. So don't let the appearances fool you. Compton is a very beautiful city. It really is. When you're going down Wilmington, when you're going down Alondra, if you can look past some of the potholes, Compton is a very beautiful city. But LA is a large, how can I say this? This is not a melting pot. LA is a large salad bowl. Yeah, this is like Epcot Center. My wife just said that. This is like Epcot Center. Like, the niggas in Carson don't operate exactly the same as the niggas in Inglewood. But they only 7 miles apart. You go into Southgate. Southgate got totally different Mexicans than the Mexicans in East LA. Who got totally different Mexicans than the Mexicans in Linwood. When it comes to Black LA has pockets. You got the Crenshaw District niggas, that's me. You got the Ladera Heights View Park niggas, which is also me. I'm able to tell you the difference because I spent more than 10 years living on both sides. You got the niggas east of the 110. Like LA has a. I need to bring Kamira White on for this part because we got a joke when we talk about this. The further east you go in LA, the more ratchet it gets. Like, niggas start. I'm gonna bring some pictures up because we gonna take us back down some memory lanes for the people who from here. It starts here. Well, not that one. Not not that one, not that one. Where did it go? Here we go. It starts here. These are the different sections of LA for the LA people. You got Inglewood, that's the Forum down there, Hollywood Park, which is now the Ram Stadium. Classic LA niggas know the Fox Hills Mall, that maze. Remember that maze was the shit. I remember I got scared one time when I was a kid because my sister got lost. My big sister got lost when I was like 3 and I was scared. You got the LA Coliseum niggas, sports arena. And it's like, the further you go east, from Black LA starts at the Fox Hills Mall. Black LA starts at the Fox Hills Mall in Culver City. Why does it start at the Fox Hills Mall? Because niggas ain't shopping at the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Center. Because I remember when they made that Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Center when I was a kid. That shit wasn't never shit. They never had a goddamn thing in it. Matter of fact, my uncle designed. There was a black man. What's his name? I'm gonna pull it up for you. LAX. What's his name? What's Paul Revere Williams? Those buildings you see down here, the Baldwin Hills Mall. A black man named Paul Revere Williams designed these at Macy's, and the one on the bottom right. And my uncle was one of the head people in charge of getting that thing built. But LA starts at about the Baldwin Hills, about the Fox Hills Mall. And every major street you go east from there, get a little bit worse. You got your rich niggas right around La Cienega. That's called Ladera Heights. That's where all the rich niggas live. The niggas that got money, that got bread. A lot of them could have moved to Beverly Hills, but they said, nah, we ain't trying to be around no plastic nosed white folks. We want to stay around here around our people. That's where you get a lot of studio executives and record label executives and politicians that live there from around the world. You keep going east and you get to La Brea. Still, good money in La Brea and Overhill. Overhill is where you get, though, is the borderline between the rich niggas and where it starts to go down from there. Slauson and Overhill is somewhere that you can commonly see Nipsey Hussle on the weekend slinging his CDs in the mid-2000s. And then you get down to Alviso, and that's where the hood starts. Alviso is about a half a mile before you get to Crenshaw. I'm taking you down Slauson. You get to Slauson and Crenshaw. That's where the Marathon store was. Let me tell you something about LA and this city. Part of the reason why you don't see too many legacy black businesses is because the city of LA has always been at war with the black business class. The reason why I'm stopping you here at Crenshaw and Slauson is at the Nipsey Marathon store is because oftentimes I'll be going down to Slauson and Crenshaw. Just before Crenshaw to stop at Woody's Barbecue. I love Woody's. Shouts out to Woody's Barbecue. And that was right next to the Marathon store. Every 2 or 3 months, you had the LAPD raiding Nipsey Hussle's Marathon store. Why? Because of the gang injunction laws. They had a rule at the Marathon. No one carried heat. There were no guns at the Marathon store. That's part of the reason why we all, like all of us that are from here, know we all feel allegedly, we all kind of feel in our gut. Them folks had something to do with that. Because that was a space they couldn't carry guns because LA had these injunction laws where Nipsey hired people who were former felons. And if there's a gun on the premises and a felon on the premises, that felon can then get locked up and have another strike. So the police every 2 or 3 months were raiding the Marathon store because it was a successful young black business. See, here in LA, like I was saying earlier, our gang class comes from being a protective class. The city of LA has always had it in for black society here in LA. If you go back to the 1930s, the LAPD in the 1930s and the 1940s was formed to keep the mafia out of Los Angeles. The mafia has never had a stronghold in LA. Why? Because the LAPD is the mafia / Gestapo unit for the city. What are you saying, Dwan? Well, this is what I'm saying. If you go back to the 1930s and 40s and 20s, Central Avenue was the Crenshaw of the day. And this is all gonna come back in a full circle. I'm talking about LA, but I'm using LA as a microcosm that black people can apply this to around the diaspora. Because the same games they play here, they export it out to other places. So this is a game for your city too, because it's coming. Or it's already come in its own form. Central Avenue was a place that black people had thriving black businesses. That's where Miles Davis, when he left New York and came to LA and wrote the Birth of the Cool album, the style of jazz that brought in what's known as the smooth style of jazz, Birth of the Cool. He came up with that on Central Avenue. Central Avenue was a thriving black section of town through the 1920s, 30s, and 40s. I know because I have a 96-year-old grandfather who lived on Central and 22nd when he moved to LA in 1937 as a 13-year-old. And I talked to him about this. My 96-year-old grandfather still has a very sharp mind. Like, he ain't lost a damn thing in his head. He's still funny as hell. He still called me the big nigga. He still called me the big unit. Like, hey, big unit. Shouts out to Poppy. But yeah, that's where your black businesses were. And when LA rid itself, in the early 1940s, LA rid itself of the mafia. Bugsy Siegel tried to send one of his people out here. I think it's sometime in the third. I don't know the exact year. But Bugsy Siegel sent some of his people out here to establish a stronghold in Los Angeles. The LAPD beat that man within an inch of his life, put him back on the train to Chicago, and said, "We run this town. You don't get to come here." So, after LAPD rid itself of the mafia and no longer had to worry about dealing with the mafia, where did they turn their attention? What's up, 3J in the chat room? What's up, P. Rothstein? What's up, y'all? Thank y'all for joining. They turned their attention to the black businesses along Central Avenue. And what they would do throughout the 1940s and the 1950s is they would have mafia-style shakedowns. If you want your business protected, you gotta pay this Black Book LAPD unit off the record the money in order for your business to be protected. And through the 40s and into the early 50s, they start raising these fees higher and higher and higher to the point. Y'all saw this shit. An example is the movie Harlem Nights. We all saw Harlem Nights when the police officer came in there and he was well, that's basically what happened all up and down Central Avenue. Go back and watch that movie, My Name is Dolomite. The hotel that they shoot that movie out of is right there smack in the central area of what I'm talking about. That's also where the black section of the Black Panthers were founded, over there, the LA chapter of the Black Panthers. But throughout the 30s and 40s and 50s, the black businesses got shaken up so much to where by the time the 60s came and they started allowing a lot of immigration here, a lot of the black businesses had to close up because they were no longer profitable because they were getting shaken down by their own city. Then you got that going on. And so from there, you had into the 60s, you start getting more of the black revolutionary movement. Black LA had borderlines. Alameda to the east. At the time, Broadway to the west, Imperial to the south, and downtown to the north. Adams. They built the 110 freeway. My grandparents' house is on 58th Street and Broadway. My grandparents moved into that house in 1955. In 1955, Broadway was a bustling district with businesses, black businesses. A lot of the black businesses that got shaken down and taken off Central moved to Broadway. And Broadway was a business district. What did they do? They built the first freeway in Los Angeles, the 110, right smack down next to Broadway, shutting down all of those businesses and clubs. As a matter of fact, my grandparents met at a nightclub on 54th and Broadway back in the before the 110 freeway was getting built. So they put a freeway down on Broadway. Okay, so niggas basically can't cross Broadway. Well, to the east of Alameda, that was still white. That was Southgate, that was Linwood, that was Vernon, those cities. No, Compton's further south. Compton was white back then too, but Compton was a little further away from the border. Black people that lived in this confined space, now called South Central LA, used to get a lot of attacks from white gangs. The coon. It was a white gang called the Coon Hunters, out of Southgate. And what the Coon Hunters would do is they would come across, and my grandmother would tell me this. They would come across, and that's why they came up with the word honky, because they would come across and they would honk at the black girls and black people. But at night, that honking would go from them. If they saw just one black person by themselves in Watts, in South Central, they'd kidnap them and beat them, kill them. And the LAPD wouldn't do anything about it. As a matter of fact, the LAPD would help. Because the spook hunters was another one. Who were the LAPD? Mind you, at the same time, these are all things going on at the same time. The LAPD built its force by recruiting out of the South. Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi. If you were white and above 6 feet tall, you got a free train ticket, 3 months room and board, and a budget to buy clothes and move to LA to become a Los Angeles police officer. Why did they recruit out of Arkansas, Alabama, Louisiana, and Mississippi? Because Jim Crow time was going on, and these were the same white people that would randomly go around lynching niggas down south. So why not give them a job here in the city of Los Angeles to do the same thing to these niggas? At the time in LA, if you go down Manchester's the street you take if you get off at LAX. Manchester's that street just north of LAX that if you've ever been to LA, you've driven down. When you get to Central Avenue, it turns into Firestone Boulevard. Why does it turn into Firestone Boulevard? Because that's where the Firestone factory used to be, and every Firestone tire made in America was made right there, and they employed hundreds and hundreds of white and black people in South Central LA. You also had the whole business district. You had Volvo. The whole car industry was down here. Part of the reason why LA has the dopest freeway system, this is just my LA side shit on y'all. All y'all niggas that live in these cities in the middle of the country with the big ass loop on the freeway system, that's some dumb shit to LA people. I don't know why the fuck. I went to Atlanta one time driving, thinking, okay, I'm seeing this before Google Maps. This is when you had to still pull out the old AAA maps. I'm driving down a freeway thinking, I see a big ass loop. And I'm thinking, okay, I should be able to just keep going straight because it'll tell me when that loop comes. Next thing I know, I go from going north to going east. Then I'm like, hold on. It's nighttime, I can't tell. Then I keep driving straight. Why am I going south? Nigga, I didn't drive straight. Then I look at the map, I drove a big ass donut around the city. LA ain't like that. LA freeway system at nighttime, when it's efficient, when traffic gets opened up, you can get anywhere in the city in 20 minutes. Facts. big as the city is, it can get anywhere in 20 minutes. Very efficiently designed freeway system. But the reason why it's an efficiently designed freeway system and this is a car city is because in the 1940s, the auto manufacturers brokered a deal with the city of Los Angeles. You know what? Build these dope freeways, but take all of the train tracks out. Because my grandmother used to always say when she and my grandfather, when they came in the 30s and the 40s, there was a whole car system similar to San Francisco and places in the East Coast. You know, anytime you drive down any street in LA, whether it be Vermont, San Vicente, Venice Boulevard, if you see a grass island in the middle of the street, that's somewhere train tracks used to be for the streetcar system. And when you go to Echo Park downtown, the older parts of LA, and you drive, the streets are a little rough because there are tracks up under those streets that niggas don't know about. Well, Ford and GM said, pay the city of LA a fuck ton of money to say, pull up all these train tracks so we can design a freeway system because we're gonna bring auto manufacturing out here, not manufacturing, auto design, auto parts, and all the things that have to do with the auto industry moved to LA in the 1940s. So that's the reason why our mass transportation system is fucked up, but our freeway system is dope. So I'm saying all that to say, because mind you, I'm not just talking, all this shit ties in together. This is all one story. I sound like I'm jumping around, but no, this all is one story. Because it all plays a part in what I'm talking about. So the freeway system sort of was designed to sort of block Black LA into a box. And if you ever Google something called the King Alfred Plan, you will see how they talk about using the LA freeway system to box niggas in, but that's another story. So LA got that. So the gang culture in LA, whether you're talking about the Snyder Boys, the Slawsons, the original gangs were all formed as a counter to white violence, whether it be by the police or by white gangs. And mind you, these white gangs still exist. They still exist. If you go down to Palos Verdes, there's a white gang called the Lunada Bay Boys. They've been around since the 1930s. And if you park at their beach, they will kill you, literally. The Lunada Bay Boys. Same thing in Malibu. They still have white gangs in Malibu that if you park at that beach, then white boys will fuck you up. The only difference is when those white boys turn 20 and 25, they become police officers and city council. The black ones go to jail in the hood. The white boys who are part of the white gangs in Palos Verdes, in Venice, in Malibu, in Santa Monica, yeah, I'm calling y'all out in Hermosa Beach. They all still there. They become police officers. And when they get into their 40s and 50s, they become city councilmen. All right? So let's just tell the truth about the gang culture in LA. It ain't just niggas, it's everybody out here. Gang bang, because LA's a salad bowl. We don't mix here. Everybody got their own little section. Do y'all know that this is something I'm hopefully, if I can get my cousin Sam to do this. He's 80, he's in his mid 80s now, so I don't even know if he know how to get on Skype. But he's a former LAPD officer. Worked the LAPD from 1967 to 1987. And he talked about how he tried to get on the LAPD back in the early 1960s, but they wouldn't allow black people onto the police force. As a matter of fact, the first black LAPD officer is former Mayor Tom Bradley. He had to go and get a law degree to become a police officer. They don't let niggas on. Boom, in comes the 1966 Watts riots. It's funny how after the Watts riots, they finally started hiring black police officers. My cousin Sam couldn't get a job as a police officer 1963, 64, 65. Watts riots hit. All of a sudden, they hitting him back. Hey, nigga, you want to work for us? Got the job in 1967. Do you know that in 1968, you can look this up, there was only one murder in all of South Central LA? One. That includes the projects, Nickerson Gardens, Imperial Courts, the Pueblos. It includes all that. One. Why? Because after the riots of 1966, the LAPD kept fucking with us to the point to where we burnt this city down. So the city realized, look, man, these Alabama cops that we done hired done gone too far. These niggas ain't gonna take it no more. So what they did was they moved all of the cops that worked South Central LA, and you're not gonna get this shit from anywhere else. Most niggas don't know this history. I'm telling you this history from motherfuckers who was there working at the time that it happened, all right? You're not gonna find this part in the LA Times or with your favorite YouTuber. You're gonna find this only with me. LAPD moved all of the white officers to the Valley, San Fernando Valley, and out the West Side, West Division, Santa Monica, and they moved all of the rookie white officers to the hood, along with the few black officers that they had. Why? Because these new officers were scared as shit of these niggas, and they weren't gonna do nothing to provoke them. So because Black LA had no outside interference or bullshit going on, there were no murders in the city. None. All the way up until Nixon started his war on drugs in 1971. And then that's when they started coming up with more knockdown, underhanded shit that they had plans for us in the 80s. But my dad talks a lot about the 70s. But I'm gonna keep going down. I was at Crenshaw. One thing about LA, so you leave Crenshaw, you go east. You keep going east, you get to Van Ness. And Van Ness, and yeah, when you start getting to Van Ness, it starts to really get bad. The corner of 54th and Van Ness has always been the corner of fucked and up. That place ain't been shit. It's getting gentrified right now, and it still ain't shit. You keep going east to Western Normandy, it gets more hood until you get to Hoover. And Hoover is a hood motherfucking street. Hoover ain't even got no businesses on that motherfucker. Hoover and Normandy are two main streets that you will see houses on, no businesses, not one, not nothing. You may get a watermelon patch in the summertime and a Christmas tree lot in the wintertime. Those are the only businesses you're gonna see on Hoover and Normandy when you get through the hood. Hoover and Normandy. And it gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse as you go east until you get to Alameda. Like the video, thumbs up. You're right, I appreciate that, Earth. Like the video. So I'm saying all this to say this. You get people that talk about LA who ain't from here. They moved to the Valley. They heard a few Dr. Dre and Snoop songs. They watched a couple movies from the late 90s. And they think they know the city. They don't. They don't. They don't. Because I was going back and someone said in chat earlier. Yeah, I was listening to Jason Black's broadcast about LA. And he was talking about dating in the city of LA. And he had these cats who weren't from here. And one thing that annoys me is how they talk about our women here in LA. Let me tell you something about LA women. It's a reason why that incestuous family from the UK had to come all the way to LA to find some chocolate to put in the family. Because our women are the shit. You don't need to make $1 million to make a LA woman happy. You just gotta be a real nigga. That's what you gotta be. People always conflate Hollywood with LA. Raw status, Meghan Markle grew up in a 5-minute bike ride from where I grew up. Nigga, shut up. And her mama looked like the high-pitched voice lady from Police Academy. What was her name on Police Academy? I need you That's how her mama looked. I used to ride my bike past Meghan Markle's house. Anyway, LA women like real niggas. Because LA is a real ass city. Very real. LA and Hollywood are two different things. You're right, Landmark. She do look better though. LA and Hollywood, fake shit don't fly in LA. Because the minute we see fake shit in LA, we see you as one of these import motherfuckers coming down here trying to pull a fast one. LA is a tell it like it is city. LA is a very direct, real city. Yes, niggas do floss. But let me tell you this. The reason why they floss is because this is a hustling ass city, too. When the rent is $2,500 to stay in the hood, you got to get off your ass and be something. They don't pass Section 8 out to niggas in LA. They'll give it to the women, of course. Some dude in the chat room said some LA dudes are haters. You live in Pasadena. Nigga, keyword, Pasadena. I'm not talking about Pasadena. I'm talking about LA. Different shit. I'm talking about what you see on the screen here. Niggas from LA, inside the borders of LA. 90043. Now you just throwing names out there, Gardena, Inglewood. No, Inglewood niggas is just like LA niggas. They right there. Inglewood, Gardena's right in the pocket. They no different than LA. They real niggas. Yes, people may flaunt and buy cars above that you may see above their means. Yeah, they may dress a certain way. That's because niggas out here got 3 and 4 jobs if they ain't hustling. You gotta really get off your ass and like there is no flossing. Like the people who be fronting, flossing and faking, they driving to LA from out in Ontario, somewhere out east of the 15 freeway where it's cheap to live. Them the niggas you may see fronting and flossing, but to be inside these city walls, nigga, you gotta get off your ass and do something. You gotta work. You gotta hustle. And you don't have time for bullshit. So what happens is, you get people from these other cities. What happens is, oftentimes, people meet someone from LA, and they say, LA this, LA that. No, this is what happens. This is the problem, biggest issue that we be having here in LA. You get y'all people who move out here from the East Coast. Y'all move out here from the West Coast. I mean, from the Midwest, from Florida, from Seattle. You in the city, you see the bright lights, you go down Melrose, get some sunglasses, you start feeling good. You think, I'm in LA, man, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna be the next Dr. Dre. I'm gonna be the next Will Smith. I'm gonna be the next whatever. Then you get to year 2, 3, 4, 5, it ain't happening the way you thought it was gonna happen. You done depleted all your savings that you had to come here with. You done met an LA chick who saw a sucker, because a lot of you niggas are suckers. And the LA chick know a sucker. And yeah, she might play a sucker, and I'm not mad at her, because you shouldn't be a sucker, nigga. And you got a job at Starbucks or at Target, and the shit ain't working the way you thought it was gonna work. Now you got a bad attitude. And everybody you meet, you disgruntled. Every time you hear somebody talk something about something, you got some hater shit to say. You are trying to undermine somebody else. And those are the people who aren't from LA run across when you get here. Because they done got fucked up in the game. Now they can kind of see it. They can see you come to LA, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to make it. And they ready to scheme off you. You get schemed off of, and then you be like, man, LA niggas, man, they just haters. Man, LA niggas, they don't know. Man, LA niggas, no. You just ran across a nigga who you gonna end up being like in 10 years if you stay here long enough and don't make it. That ain't real LA people. LA women are loyal. I've never had an issue with LA women not being loyal. I've never had an issue with LA women not having your back. Now, if you a non-loyal person who's about some scheming shit, look, law of attraction, that's what you're gonna attract. You're gonna attract that from a chick. If whatever you are on the inside is what you're gonna attract. I don't give a fuck what city you in. No, raw status TV. LA dudes don't think nothing about, look, the moon don't bark at the dog. LA niggas ain't got time to think about the rest of the country. That's the whole point. You niggas come here talking shit about us while we trying to hustle. We here trying to hustle. We ain't got time to think about niggas from other parts of the city or the country. Fuck y'all. Y'all came here. We didn't go there. This is a different city. It is a different city in a lot of ways, but I'm here to tell y'all that this is a blue collar, hard working ass city. Very blue collar, very hard working. We don't got time for that fake shit. When it comes to our women here, they see a real nigga a mile away. They also see a front nigga a mile away. And one thing about the LA women is if you're a front faking ass nigga, yeah, she might take advantage of that. Why not? If you coming out here showing your money first, talking about what you gonna spend, why shouldn't she take a few chips off that bread if that's what you putting forward? But people come from other places and be having this place all fucked up. That's who I'm speaking to. I'm not here to down any other part of the country. Every city has its own vibe. In every city, the people in that city have a reason for operating the way that they operate. If you from goddamn Tupelo, Mississippi, you got your own way. As an LA person, it would be wrong of me to come into Tupelo, Mississippi and be like, man, this how we do it in LA. Man, y'all niggas is different, man. Y'all do it weird, man. That'd be some dumb hoe shit. Again, Raw Status TV, who are you? See, for people watching on YouTube, look at the comments. Raw Status TV wants to make himself known, so let's make him known. This nigga is making every wrong idea. What the nigga? Were you watching Colors yesterday, nigga? Where the fuck are you getting these ideas about LA people? Nigga, LA people are not color struck. We don't play that shit. LA people ain't we don't play that colorism shit in LA. The fuck you either ugly or you look good. And I'm tell you something, LA's a beautiful city. Most of the women here are so goddamn sexy and pretty. Pretty come in all colors here in LA. Oh my God. We got the long light skin, long hair, down to the kinky hair, dark skin chicks with the beautiful ass faces, high cheekbones, and wonderful smiles, smelling good. Don't play that color shit in LA. What the fuck you talking about? I know that just from my own household. My mom could literally pass for white. And my mom has never played that shit. People used to call my sister Pocahontas because her hair goes down to her butt. Red skin. All the phenotypical shit that y'all say in LA. My sister don't play that shit because she a real nigga. We don't play no goddamn... There is no brown paper bag test in LA. Niggas in LA know that. Look, white supremacies are a problem. We don't play no goddamn light skin versus dark skin shit. It ain't enough black people here to play light skin versus dark skin. Dumbass nigga. That's what I mean. This is the whole point of having this broadcast, to clear up some shit. You got all these people who spent 6 months here want to run back and talk about what the fuck LA is. No. Butter Love, you from LA. LA is not on that. You either cute or you're not. Real talk. You either look good or you don't. I went to Westchester High School, home of the most beautiful women in LA. Hell, I married an LA woman. My woman is loyal. My woman is beautiful. All that shit that I heard them talking about and this is no, and I'm not talking about, not salute to Jason Black, you know what I mean? This ain't no shot at him. He don't know better. He ain't from here. But he had people calling in who ain't from the city. He had imports calling in who lived on a periphery, who can't speak on this shit, talking down about LA women. You can't talk down about LA women. My dad met my mom here. They still married. My granddad met my grandmama here, on both sides of the family. And they all died married. So you can't tell me shit about LA women when I done seen 4 generations of LA people get married and have successful marriages, including me. Including my sister. My sister's an LA chick. She married. She married an LA nigga. Man, don't if you decide to move in LA, look, if you decide to come to LA, here's the thing. Be real. Be 100 with yourself. If you come to LA and you 100 with yourself, you ain't trying to floss, you ain't trying to do no extra shit, you'll fit right on in. But if you try to do all that floss and extra shit, guess what? You're going to be attracted to a whole bunch of floss and extra shit ass niggas and have a whole bunch of floss and extra shit ass problems. Because that's the shit that you put out when you came. Oh, what's up, Chris Thomas? Yeah. Chris Thomas said, I've known his wife since elementary. She's a genius. She said, thanks, Chris. Yeah, you went to elementary with my wife, Chris. Yeah, you've known her since elementary school. She's a genius. My wife is. My wife's the smartest person I know. Y'all think I'm smart? Shit. I live with the council. I hear you. You say you Hampton, Virginia's your hometown? Okay, yeah. See, this is a very cool city. But what I see when people come here with all these pretentious thoughts. They come here already ready because you've been hearing these people on TV, these rappers and these actresses on Jay Leno and talk shows talking about LA, hearing all this fake phony shit. You come here expecting that, and then real LA folks are like, who the fuck is this nigga? And then you wondering why people don't get along with you, why shit ain't working, why these women is playing you, because they see your mark ass coming from a mile away. It's like that, you right, the Al show. It's like LA's like anywhere else. Phony attracts phony, real attracts real. And I'm speaking to you from the point of view of a real nigga, because that's who I've always been, that's who I always will be. And I'm talking to you about what I attract here in this city of Los Angeles. So, you're right about that, Maine Lamont. You are what you attract. So, yeah, with that being said, let's go back into a little bit more of the history. My dad, I like talking to my dad about this all the time. He graduated high school in 1971. And he went into the streets. And he talked about how, back in the 70s, the drug game and the gang game were two different games. Like, gang members didn't deal with the drugs or the street shit. And the street niggas, the drug niggas, didn't deal with any kind of banging. There was a rule. There was a kind of a code of honor amongst the people who was in the game in the 70s. There was a code. You know, he worked under he knew of Tootie Reese. You know, y'all may have heard of Tootie Reese, and Tariq talked about Tootie a little bit in the last Hidden Colors. But I remember growing up as a kid, and my dad always telling me about this man named Tootie Reese. Cause we used to like leave, my wife be laughing every time you hear that name. Cause when we would leave my grandmama's house and go home, every time we drove down Angeles Vista, my dad would be like, "You see that house right there? That's the house where Tootie Reese used to live." And it was a very controlled thing. And then in the 80s, I remember my dad saying, like, this is like right before I was born, he was like, everything that he had was drying up. And none of the niggas who was part of that code of honor on the streets really knew what was going on. No one really knew what was going on. Then all of a sudden, the kids that was in the gangs, the Crips and the Bloods, they started getting the drugs. And then in the 70s, the Crips and the Bloods never had touched the drugs. That was what the hustlers did. But out of nowhere, Sean Isaac's immigrants don't run shit. The only thing immigrants run is the train on your mama. All right? Get that shit out this chat room. Fuck out of here with that. So back to what I was talking about. My pops talked about back in the 80s, you saw the drugs going to the gangs. And that's when shit got crazy. That's when shit got wild. That's when shit got fucked up. I said that about his mama because I hate that shit. I'm not even talking from the aspect of who runs LA. The white supremacists run LA, you dumb nigga. That's another reason why I'm having this conversation. I'm not talking about this shit from, ooh, black people run LA. Ooh, immigrants run LA. No, the white supremacists run LA. Just like the white supremacists run Mississippi, Georgia, Canada, Nigeria, Australia, Timbuktu. The white supremacists run LA, goddammit. I ain't talking about this ain't no big boy conversation. I'm just over here talking about if you come to LA, you black, I want to make sure that you get in and you get good and know where you stand. That's all that's all this conversation is about. It ain't about who runs shit. The white supremacists run all this shit. Somebody last name Herkowitz run all this shit. We don't even know the nigga name. Yes, the white supremacists do run Zimbabwe. Them niggas had to give their farmland back earlier this year, Raw Status TV. Pick up a newspaper. They got Mugabe out of there. If the white supremacists didn't run Zimbabwe, Mugabe would still be, up until he died, he'd be running that motherfucker. They had to get his ass up out of there because the white supremacists run Nigeria and Zimbabwe and Egypt and Turkey and Russia and China, goddammit. So let's stop all that who run who shit. That's a prison babble. Mexicans don't run shit. Mexicans in LA get more leverage from the white supremacists to do illegal things towards black people. Yes, they do get more leverage and more room from the white supremacists to do more to black people than the white supremacists give room to black people to do to Mexicans. That's true. But the white supremacists still run this fucking city. Back to what I was talking about in the 80s. In the 80s was when the drugs hit the gangs. And that's when shit got wild. But at the same time, the LAPD, shouts out to Maxine Waters. I didn't vote for that hag this time because she's had her course. But she was good for us back then in the 80s because Maxine Waters is the person that got Oliver North to admit to running his whole drug contra scandal and placing them drugs here in the city of Los Angeles. Crack was created at UCLA, refined in Oakland, and brought down and mass distributed in Los Angeles. My pops used to telling me about how, like, because I used to see them pictures of him in his long ass Cadillac and pimp and like this little butterfly collar. Like, Pops, what that kind of Cadillac? He like, man, Pops had to square up and get a regular job. He had to explain to me, and then I started seeing like all these. I remember as a kid, I used to go to Coliseum Elementary School. Every time at recess and at lunch, there will be this dude in a white Lamborghini who would drive out of the jungles and pass our school. So all of us as kids, we run to the gate like, ooh, the white Lamborghini. That's how niggas was making money in LA back in the 80s on them drugs. You saw Lamborghinis, Ferraris, all kinds of shit going through the hood. And then another thing, people be like, man, LA can't be that violent. Well, all that sunshine. Well, shit. That means they feel warm enough to kill your ass if they see your ass. Because shootings happen all over the city here because people be everywhere. People be at Venice Beach, people be at UCLA, people be all over. Hollywood. So when the niggas see you, they gonna get you. And oftentimes that can happen in a $100,000 plus car. Because the drug game was so good. You had over 1,800 murders in the city of LA in 1988. But I'm saying all that to say this. At the same time, the LAPD, they were putting guns out in crates. You will oftentimes hear stories about people and they lowriders getting impounded and they getting put in jail for the weekend. But that same lowrider from the brother who was put in jail was involved in 2 drive-bys over the weekend in a rival hood. Yeah. I encourage you guys to go and look up the LAPD Rampart investigation. This ain't no conspiracy, people. They talk about it. How the LAPD would literally start gang wars. They would take cars from gang members, known cars, the obvious one, the one with the candy paint, the one that everybody gonna recognize, bust him, lock him up, and use this car to start some shit in a rival hood. So a lot of your gang shit in LA was oftentimes LAPD started, but finished on the streets. You're right, AP Trader. They're doing that now in Chicago. That's why I'm bringing this up. Because the bullshit starts one place, but it gets circled all around the country. They're doing it in Baltimore right now. You're right, Jeff. LAPD is the biggest gang in LA. And that's why I started this broadcast by talking about how the LAPD was structured. It was literally structured and created by Chief William Parker, Parker Center downtown, to be the Gestapo unit, to be the primary gang for the city of Los Angeles. What I'm saying isn't unique to LA. It started in LA, but it got exported. I'm going to tell you something. There's a book. Isha, can you get that book for me off in the room? Danger, Duty, Disillusion in the bookshelf, the red book. There's a book that I read. There's a cultural anthropology class that I took in college, 2001, when I was at Santa Monica College. My professor, her husband was an LAPD officer from 1968 to 1998. And so she wrote a book on the anthropological study of the Los Angeles Police Department from up close. And in that book, they talk about how 92% of all police officers, LAPD officers, never had to fire their weapon. 92%. But out of the 8% that did have to fire their weapon, 90% of that 8% fired that weapon more than one time. So basically what she was saying was this. They can identify who the shooters are. They know who the shooters are within the police department. They know who the killers are. They know who the people are who are lowering the rankings. They don't do anything about those people because those people are the ones that enforce the underhanded things that police officers require in order to keep the business of crime going. Because if there's peace, guess what? There's budget cuts. Danger, Duty, Disillusion by Joan C. Barker. See if you can find it. It's a book talking about that. Yeah, Chris Thomas, I said that a little earlier, but I'm glad you reminded me. Bastards of the Party talks about that. I said that a little earlier, but for those who are new to the chat room, get this documentary called Bastards of the Party. I don't know if it's still on Netflix or not, but it's somewhere. That's the most accurate depiction of LA, Bastards of the Party. Where was I? I was talking about how the LAPD Gestapo unit, what they did to perpetuate gang violence here in LA. And if you really want to understand the temperament of LA, you have to listen to Ice Cube's Death Certificate album. Listen to Death Certificate by Ice Cube. Everyone loves that album for No Vaseline. But that whole album was no Vaseline to the system and how it works and how it's structured. 1991, I'm Latasha Harlan, December 1991. I'm a child, 10 years old, and I see this chick named Latasha Harlan. She's shopping, and she gets shot and killed by the Asian store owner. And the Asian store owner gets 6 months probation. 6 months later, 6 months before that, I saw Rodney King get beat. And I was always raised to respect the police. My mom was always very respect the police, follow the book kind of person. So I see Rodney King get beat. Rodney King was just the first time on camera because LAPD back in the 80s had something called the crash unit. And what the crash unit did was they would see a black person and they would just literally crash in on them and beat them. They had a tank that had a long ass boom arm on it. And if they suspected you were dealing drugs or doing something, they literally run this tank into the side of your house and knock that whole wall down. And even if you weren't doing nothing, they didn't pay nothing to get the house fixed. That's how the LAPD treated us back then. And still do it on an underhand level. So all these things are going up. And if you listen to Death Certificate, Ice Cube, Black, you're right, 4 pound, Black Korea by Ice Cube. Yep. Horny Little Devil. Sam. I want to kill Sam because he ain't my motherfucking uncle. All that. Listen to that album. And that was the temperament and what was going on in LA. So what do we do in LA? We had a second riot. One thing about LA people is we don't take too much shit. They gotta be underhanded with it because at some point we gonna fight back. We fought back in 1992. The 92 riots was one of the best things to happen to this city. I was there. All the riots were great. I was a little scared when they were happening at first, but I got the rest of that week off school. Because I remember when it happened. My granddad had just bought me, remember them slip and slide things back in the 90s? It was this thing called the Crocodile Mile. That was where you had a slip and slide and you run down that motherfucking slide into the little bullshit pool. The Crocodile Mile. I was 10 getting ready to turn 11. And I remember I'm laying my Crocodile Mile out in my backyard, Rodeo Road in Crenshaw. And I kept hearing all of these military helicopters over top. And you know, so now you can just feel commotion. I hear sirens coming up and down the street. And so I run inside. Look on TV. I see Reginald Denny getting his ass whooped by Damian Football Williams and the A-Trays. And this is on Florence and Normandy. Right down the street from my elementary school. I went to Coliseum Elementary before I went to Coliseum, I went to 74th Street Elementary. And when I was real young, my parents, we stayed at the apartments on Slauson and 71st. You know the Brown apartments over there. So that's literally about a mile from where I was as a kid. And I saw that white boy getting his ass beat. And I was like, God damn it, finally some justice. And then you saw everything getting burned down. And black people turning up. Let's tell the truth about the riots. The riots, the black people only turned up that Wednesday and that Thursday. By that Thursday evening, black people were out. Friday, Saturday, that was nothing but Mexicans getting free shit. They were just going in and just looting shit. But that same Wednesday night the riot started, I remember the riot starting on a Wednesday because I was raised in church. And my mama still made us go to church for Wednesday night Bible study. My wife over here laughing at me because she didn't. Shut up. Yes, on the first night of the riots, 1992, my mom was like, we still going to Bible study. So I had to go to Bible study the first night of the riots. So we go down Rodeo Road, make a right on La Brea, and I see the warehouse music on fire. I see the Thrifty's drugstore on fire. I drive down across Jefferson. I see that corner, the southwest corner of Jefferson and La Brea on fire. I drive up to Adams, make a left, and we get to church. What's up, Patrice, in the chat room? Patrice said, what's up to you? New Way said, my mom would have done the same thing. You right. You right, New Way. You know black moms are, we still going to church, nigga. So we had to go to church. And while we in church, we hear sirens going up and down Adams Boulevard. So we kind of got dismissed from church early that day. And we get home and we see the whole city flamed up. But let me tell you what came out of the riots. Yes, it was minor inconveniences. The Sunnyside Market on the corner of Coliseum and King got burned down. That's where we used to go get our pickled pig feet and shit on the weekend. The 7-Eleven burned down just outside the jungle. So yeah, it was no more Slurpees. But I'll tell you this. The LAPD started respecting niggas. Niggas stopped getting their ass beaten all willy-nilly in this city. They disbanded the crash unit. No more tanks running through the side of people's walls. They had a new thing called Operation Rebuild LA that they wanted black people and black businesses. Why was that important? Because I have an uncle, my uncle Michael Watkins, rest in peace, died in 1996, the same day as Tupac. I miss him. He died at 40 years old, 39 years old, the same age I am now, I'm 39. But he was an eye doctor. And Uncle Michael had been trying to open up an eyeglass shop in the city of LA. Because I'm gonna circle this back to business. Our next segment is gonna be business, how LA is, or businesses. Uncle Michael couldn't get an eyeglass shop. He's an eye doctor. He wanted just to be an eye doctor in the city of LA to his black community. The city of LA said no. Unless you open up a liquor store, gun store, or some bullshit that's gonna kill his community, you can't open that business here. So my Uncle Michael had to go way out to Azusa, to West Covina, to open up an eyeglass shop. West Covina is about 40 miles east of LA. He had to go to Pomona, where they started relocating niggas. They let him open up an eyeglass shop in Pomona, but they wouldn't let him open up one in LA. But when Operation Rebuild LA happened, they finally started letting black businesses come in. And Michael was able to open up an eyeglass shop on the corner of Vermont and 83rd in LA. He even constructed a clinic on the corner of Vermont and 83rd. The brown brick building is still there, next to that bullshit Scientology center. He died 2 months before that place opened. But because of the riots, he was able to break ground and open up an eyeglass shop in the city he grew up in, that they were not allowing him to open up because he was a black eye doctor. That was the result of the riots. I grew up off Crenshaw. And this is how LA was before the riots. Liquor store, chicken shop, fast food, liquor store, fast food, gun shop, fast food, liquor store. If we wanted to go to do anything, like if we wanted to go to Circuit City or go somewhere, Target, or to any kind of business that had any kind of substance behind it, we had to pack up the car and go over into Culver City, go into West LA. That was always an adventure to have to go somewhere that had resources. There were no resources here in the city. After the riots, all of those places that we were having to leave LA to go to came into the Crenshaw district. Magic Johnson was allowed to open up his movie theater right down the street from where I grew up. Right there at the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza is where he opened up his movie theater. Because before Magic opened up that theater, we had to go to Marina Del Rey to go to the movies. We had to go to Santa Monica to go to the movies. South Bay to go to the movies. So after the riots, they heard us loud and clear. And you saw black businesses open up and start to boom all throughout the city. All up and down Crenshaw, black businesses, left, right. Contrary to what you tell you, the whole city ain't hood, because right there next to Crenshaw is a place called, like I said before, View Park, Ladera Heights. Baldwin Hills. Black people. It's less now, but at that point, 95% black people living in, having views like what you see right here on screen. That's the view from a black neighborhood that you see here on screen. All black, big ass houses, 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. If you ever saw the movie Ray, the Ray Charles movie, the big ass house he lived in, yeah, that was like right down the street from my parents' house. That's where this picture's taken from. Right down the street from that house on Ray. Black people. Successful, loving, caring, looking out for one another. And it's still that way. Yeah, we got others coming in the View Park, but we still holding strong. We still looking out for each other. So don't let these people tell you about this city and about how the people of this or the people of that. No, LA's got a bunch of regular ass people like your city, like any other city. The question is, how real are you? Because if you real, you're gonna attract the real here. If you a hoe ass nigga, you're gonna attract the hoe ass niggas that are here. So let's make that clear. You know, Leimert Park, yep, right down the hill. The riots were necessary. The riots cleaned up the city in a lot of ways. Never be afraid to turn up. But I will say this, black people really only turned up the first day and a half. After that, it was Mexicans and everybody else just coming in stealing a bunch of free shit. We ain't had nothing to do with that. But I tell you this, them Asians heard us loud and clear. Because like on that movie, Don't Be a Menace, they were really, hurry up and buy. Yeah, that was the mantra in these hood shops before the riots. Hurry up and buy. After the riots, it was, whatever you like. Whatever you like. The riots was damn near 30 years ago. Asians still smile and bow their motherfucking heads when they see niggas come up in their shops. Because they know what the fuck we gonna do if they decide to be on that bullshit they be on In some of these other cities, I be seeing them do their bullshit in. They ain't doing that here. They know better. They mama taught them. And let's just tell the truth about gang culture. It ain't just black people. You got the Mexican gangs. You got the Asian gangs. Look, I know someone who's the LA County Sheriff Department. I'm not going to say his name. But he used to work out there in the city of industry, the city of Azusa, the city I mentioned earlier. That's a primary industry. Azusa, that's primarily Asian. And he said that the Asian gang, out here in LA, you'll see the Asian gangs fuck with Asians just like everybody else. It's really big when you're talking about Whittier and that Whittier Hill, that area off of 605, Arcadia, up and down Monrovia, up and down the 605 between the 60 and the 210 where all those Asians live. They have a gang of home invasion robberies up there, man. Why? Because a lot of them Asians be carrying cash. So them Asians be fucking each other up. Them triads, them Yakuza motherfuckers, they be out here in LA heavy fucking shit up. Alhambra. But the difference between them and us is they get to fuck shit up and go home to another country. So that's partially why they turn up more than LA people. LA, the niggas turn up. Niggas ain't got nowhere to go but to Cleveland. Niggas ain't got nowhere to go but to their cousin's house for a few months down in Arkansas. And states got extradition laws. You know, we ain't got nowhere to go. The Mexicans could hit you and take their asses down to Tabasco and be in Tabasco, Mexico in 7 hours. So they do take more liberties because they have more freedom in how they're able to move about the world. But they be, man, you talking about Asian, you don't want to talk about Asian on Asian crime. But oftentimes the Asians don't call the police because a lot of them are illegal or they have other shit going on. So a lot of their issues get handled internally. It's not until it hits something major that the police get called. And I'm gonna tell you another thing they said about them Asians down there in industry in that way. This is something from a LA County, Rolling Heights. You right about that? Diamond Bar. Yep. You know LA. How they get down? Gang of home invasion robberies. I'm gonna tell you something. A police officer told me. He said, "We know when we pull someone over in those Asian neighborhoods, and like a Lexus, like if you see like an expensive Lexus or Mercedes with like dark tint windows pull up behind you, the LA County Sheriff know. Don't finish writing that ticket because that's a shot caller that pulled up behind that person. And that shot caller can get that police officer fucked up." Y'all know that. Look up Under Sheriff Tanaka. The LAPD has internal gangs, and so do the sheriffs. The sheriffs have a gang called the Vikings that came out. Another one called the Banditos. Under Sheriff was an Asian named Tanaka. His brother was a mayor of the city of Gardena. They both in jail right now. AP Trader, yeah, they have a community, but let's not put any extras on them. No, their community is allowed to operate by the white supremacists on a level the black community is not allowed to operate. Because everything them Asians is doing business-wise, we've been doing in the city before our own goddamn police department came crashing down on us. Before our own government that we pay taxes to came crashing down on us. But yeah, I said that. Yeah, the LA County Sheriff know when certain cars come up behind them to let that car go. Because it's probably some Asian within the police department that get that police officer fucked up if they give the wrong person the ticket or arrest the wrong person. So that's LA. I'm telling you nothing about LA, the white side. The white people, the white officers, the white gangs run all this shit. Before the shit hits the Mexican gangs, see, black people get their shit from the Mexicans, but the Mexicans get their shit from the white people. Yeah. It ain't the Mexicans controlling product over in Mexico. It's the white people controlling product in Mexico. Just like they bring the shit to their white people who are controlling product out here, who then gives it to they allow the Mexicans to then distribute that shit to the black people. But let's not come and act like the Mexicans and the Asians are just coming up here boss hogging anything. They're still under the thumb of the white supremacist gang culture. Let me tell you another story. I have someone who's a former family friend. I'm not gonna say where I know him from because it would be too easy to identify him if I did. But he's a high up in the LAPD. He's someone back when I worked security in the nightclubs in Hollywood. He got me all those jobs because he worked up there. He told me when it's time for like the LAPD on the weekends when they're off work, when they have their off-duty biker rallies up in Ventura and Santa Barbara, the LAPD has to check in with Hell's Angels to go up the 101 freeway through Ventura into Santa Barbara. The Hell's Angels run the highways in LA, in Southern California, through their contacts within the Los Angeles Police Department. Go back and read up on the Rampart scandal. If you read up on Rampart, all this shit come out. Read up on OJ. And part of the reason why OJ was framed because a lot of this shit that I'm talking about is in them documents when we talking about Mark Furman and them motherfuckers. You want to tell the whole truth? CN in the chat room had a good question. I'm about to open this up to questions. So hit me up with y'all questions in the chat room. I've been running my mouth long enough. I want to hear what y'all talking about. I want to start off with this question by CN. It's a good question. During the Great Migration, where did most black people settle initially? During the Great Migration, most black people settled, and I think I touched on this a little bit earlier, in South Central. That's south of downtown, north of Imperial, east of Alameda, west of the 110 freeway. Before the 110 freeway, it was Broadway. It was Broadway. Then the 110 freeway was built, and black people were boxed into that area during the Great Migration. My 3 times great-grandparents were part of that initial Great Migration during the 1920s, living in that area. And how, to recapture what I was talking about earlier, it was systematically through the LAPD how black businesses were disenfranchised and taken away. And how the same thing. Oh, before I get to y'all questions, I'm glad you said that because I do want to tie a bow in on all this. Because I mentioned Nipsey earlier, and I want to tie how all this goes into black businesses. Then I'm going to take you guys' questions. Because I can't leave this point out about Nipsey in the marathon story and how that shit got shut down. LA still has its Gestapo unit against black businesses that's involved. Example. It seems like black business owners seem to always find a way to get killed out here. And I don't get it. The owner of M&M's, Soul Food, he was killed in his driveway. They say he was by someone who was robbing him or a family member or something like that, but we know how the alphabet agencies work. You're not going to have no white boy looking like Tommy Lee Jones in Men in Black coming doing the work for them folks. They gonna send someone that look like you to do the final job. We know that. So yes, on one level, we know that who pulled the trigger, but who was behind that? Speaking of black businesses, I want to shout out my homegirl Lauren. She's from here in LA. That's my nigga right there. Grew up in church together, friends, still close friends to this day. Visit her shop at vintagelafure.com. She got these dope ass sweatshirts. for people who love LA. Old classic LA emblems, the Liquor Bank. 92.3 The Beat. Shouts out to Theo. Nobody in LA knew Theo was Asian until he was in that video with Brandy. Pioneer Chicken. The RTD, what the bus line was called before it became the MTA. Hawthorne, South Bay, Crenshaw, Foxes, Del Amo, and Carson. There's some dope ass shirts. You can get this at VintageLaFure.com. She told me she's on back order. She's not gonna have any new clothing until at least January 2nd. So some of the stuff is still available. Go to the website and see what she has. The rest of it, if you can't get it now, it will be available at the top of the year. Another LA woman doing her thing. Because in LA, we hustle. We look out for each other, man. Lauren I ain't charging her for this drop. I'm charging her because she dope as hell at what she does. So I want y'all to support the homegirl shop. This is not a paid advertisement. This is some free shit. Because I see she doing some dope shit. VintageLaFure.com. And she has all kind of other clothes for you ladies and shit. But back to what I was saying about black businesses. The owner of M&M's got shot and killed out of nowhere. That shit was weird. The owner of Star, here in Gardena, there are 3 strip clubs. Well, two of them are closed down now, but there were 3 strip clubs: Stars, King Henry's, and First Kings. All 3 titty bars was owned by one black man. A few years ago, that black man got shot and killed on the freeway. Nobody knows how that happened. He's dead. That's what they do to business owners, black business owners out here. I used to work at this bank called Washington Mutual Bank in Inglewood, California, on the corner of Manchester and Locust, downtown Inglewood. This back in the early 2000s when Inglewood was Inglewood. Like when Inglewood was all black. This before any gentrification, anything became a thing. Back when Inglewood looked like this, when the Great Western Forum was blue and the Hollywood Park Casino and racetrack was still there. That Inglewood. Do you know, as the manager of business accounts, I was a manager of business accounts for 2 years. I closed hundreds of millions of dollars in business loans. Ask me how many loans I closed for black-owned businesses in downtown Inglewood. Ask me. Zero. Out of the hundreds of millions of dollars that were exchanged on the business account side of the game, 0 black-owned businesses in an area more than half the businesses were black-owned got money. Not one business, not one dime. That's how LA gets down when it comes to black business. Had the nerve to be literally a half mile from the Great Western Forum, where you see right there. I'm on the same street, Manchester. Go down a half mile, you see the Forum. Make a right. Go down another mile, you see Hollywood Park Casino. Nothing but black businesses between here and there. Not one got a dime. That's how LA operates when it comes to black businesses. I remember this company, when I worked at the bank, we moved from Manchester and Locust to Century. And when we moved to Century, it was literally right across the street from the top left. You see that racetrack there on the top left? Literally right across the street from that. Because when you're looking at that picture, it's coming from the corner of Prairie and Century, looking east. When you're looking down at this picture on the top left. Well, just to the north of that, on Century, there was a new shopping center opening up, and it's still there. There's now a Chase Bank there. If you look, you'll see a Del Taco. Well, that Del Taco, I don't know if it still is owned by him. There was a black man who had that, who at the time owned that Del Taco. They were building that shopping center, and it was supposed to be the Wendy's and the Del Taco. That's it right there. Well, Washington Mutual Bank, they said, hey, we want that spot. So what did they do? Out of all the businesses in that shopping center, I said senator. Out of all the businesses in that shopping center to boot, guess which business they booted to the side? The black-owned Del Taco, which was what? The only black-owned business allowed in that whole complex. They booted his shit. He literally had to sue and prove, because at the time, Inglewood had a black mayor, a boule-ass nigga named Roosevelt Dorn. He had to appeal, like, hold on, we in Inglewood. You got the black businesses up there on Manchester where shit's old, but here on Century, where you're designing all this new shit, no black businesses, you finally have one, that's this Del Taco, and you boot it for the bank? So because that black man fought, they ended up allowing the bank to get in and his Del Taco. But if you park there, you'll notice it's not adequate parking. Not enough for a bank and 2 fast food joints. The reason why it's not enough parking, because that bank wasn't supposed to be there. That was supposed to be the Del Taco. The rest was supposed to be parking. They had to cut out parking and put his business there because he sued. Because if they didn't put that Del Taco there, there would have been 0 black businesses. Which again, Operation Rebuild LA, something that came in after the riots, that was something that he used and leveraged in his lawsuit. And I don't think it never got to court. They never got to court or anything, but he was able to bring that up. And they conceded. So then you get to the Nipsey shop, the Marathon shop. You know how Marathon shop was getting raided every other fucking month? And I'll never forget January 2019. Nipsey Hussle buys that shopping center. And the moment that happened, I hit my boy Larry up. Y'all know Larry Goodwell. I hit Larry up. I said, ooh, we better watch. We better hope our brother Nipsey's protected. Because I know how hard the city's trying to gentrify that corner. 2 months later, our brother Nipsey was gone. I literally saw that coming. Because I know how this city treats black business owners who don't kowtow and settle down. Yeah, Tasha, you know she from LA. Look, for y'all not from LA, look, listen to what the people from LA are saying, vouching for what I'm saying. These people talking are born and raised here. Yeah. Nipsey, it was just like, look what else they're doing on Crenshaw. Danny Bakewell, that Creole motherfucker who looked like, he looked like he could cook a mean catfish. He owns a lot of that stuff up and down Crenshaw. Do y'all know Danny Bakewell sold the corner of Crenshaw and Slauson where the Ralph's, Popeyes, Burger King, that whole corner? He sold that shit right after Nipsey got killed for $29 million. Question. Why would you sell that huge shopping center for only $29 million when you know we have a whole train line being built in right here? You know, the minute that train line is built, that piece of land is going to be worth at least $100 million. Why would you sell it now if you weren't forced to? Allegedly. I'm not speaking for Danny Bakewell. I don't know him. I've never shook his hand. I never met him. I'm just a nigga that read the newspaper and I look at what's going on in my city that's not in the flashlights. I just read the signs. That's all I'm doing. I don't know him. I ain't speaking for him. Just like I ain't speaking for the brother who owned the Del Taco. I ain't speaking for him. These just shit that I observed. Being someone from here. That man was forced to sell that lot for $29 million. You don't sell no fucking lot. He been owning that lot for over 20, 30 years. You don't sell that shit for no 30 million when you know when this train line is getting done, it's gonna be worth at least triple. You right, Jeff. You sold because you next. All these black businessmen, we saw what happened to Nipsey. You niggas that ain't from here may be mistaken for something, but we ain't. We are not mistaken. Yeah. That's LA. That's LA. So yeah, I said that. That's how they treat us here in our business. So here in LA, black Americans are under really knockdown, drag out, guerrilla pimping from the local cities, law enforcement, and municipalities. Straight up knockdown, drag out, hardcore pimp style. People be like, well, why don't you leave? Because I'm an LA nigga. It ain't like me to leave. We stay and fight. White supremacy is global. I'm not going to leave here and go somewhere else where I don't understand their street politics, their business politics. At least with me understanding the politics of LA, I know how to move and do certain things, dip in and dip out. But look, the way I see it, if white supremacy is going to be solved, white supremacy is going to be solved where you stand. There is no running to solve white supremacy over there. No, white supremacy is going to be solved where you stand. So no, I'm not interested in running. I'm not. I'm not saying all this shit to talk down and big up. No, I'm saying all this shit as a cautionary tale. Because as black folks, we got to reach each other. We got to talk to one another. White folks ain't going to tell us this game. White folks ain't going to tell us what they up to. We just see it. So we got to put the messages out there for one another. So if there's a brother who wants to come open up shop here in LA who's listening to this, you can email me at hotepish@gmail.com. You can listen to this broadcast and see what's going on and make a wise decision. So it ain't no going nowhere and starting shit. I'm starting my shit here. Matter of fact, I've already started my shit here. And it's going really good too. It's going really good. But here's why I want to bring this up. Like, I remember a while, going back to when we was talking about Brother Jason Black's broadcast, he was talking about how he observes LA. And when I heard him talking about how he observes LA, I was thinking like, yeah, he don't get it. Yeah, you may have been to that Thames. Yeah, you may have been to that mall. But nigga, respectfully, my brother, you don't get it. You don't get it. You don't get it. One thing he had said was, he said when he comes to LA, he goes down to the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Center to observe Black LA. Let me tell you something. LA niggas don't fuck with the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza, you dig? I remember when that bitch was opened. That Macy's that you see down there and that other one on the bottom right, those two buildings were designed by Paul Revere Williams back in the 1960s, but those were standalone buildings. The place didn't become a mall until 1989, where you see that little bridge where you see Baldwin Hills Crenshaw. I remember that bridge getting built in 1988 because we had to drive up under that motherfucker every time we was coming home. We took King Boulevard to leave from my grandparents' house back to our house over in the Crenshaw district. So every time we left my grandparents' house on 58th and Broadway, we took Broadway, down to King down crossing Crenshaw. So I remember all this shit getting built. I said what I had to say is from the moment they built that mall, like they do in every city, this isn't unique to LA, this is nationwide, they understocked the black shit. If it's a black thing in a black neighborhood, they under-resource it. So even though niggas grew up here in LA, niggas didn't really fuck with the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza. We go up in that motherfucker because they had a warehouse music, we get our CDs, and they had a few specialty shops. If you was into a few specialty things, you go to that one. But if you from LA, you don't go to the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza. Nigga, you go to the Fox Hills Mall. LA nigga, black LA. Y'all see this Macy's out here? Let me see. Let me pull up. Put that picture up front. Fox Hills Mall. This here. This is where you go if you from black LA. These two, Fox Hills Mall, Macy's, Robinson May. Y'all remember when the Fox Hills Mall looked like that when they had that Robinson's May there before all this new bullshit that they putting up? This is where black LA hang out. This is where back in the 80s and 90s where if you were a mom with a girl anywhere over the age of 12, watch out, because all the grown niggas is there trying to holler at her. My wife over here shaking her head. Yep. This is where all the black people who had a little bit of anything went to spend our money, the Fox Hills Mall. And if we weren't at the Fox Hills Mall, we was at the Ladera Center. You right. We be at the 4 Pound. We be at the Delamo Mall before we go to the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza. And if niggas weren't at the Fox Hills Mall, the second main place niggas would be at is the Beverly Center. Beverly Hills, California, yeah. Crenshaw niggas, LA niggas fuck with the Beverly Center. But a brother like a Jason Black wouldn't know that, being from Louisiana, coming to visit LA. He sees Black Mall on the middle of Crenshaw. Everybody knows about Crenshaw. So it's easy for someone like him to assume that the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza will be where you go to check on the status of Black LA. No, the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Mall is where you go to check on the status of niggas who couldn't afford the bus fare or a car to get to the Beverly Center or the Fox Hills Mall. LA is a very segregated salad bowl city. LA's hangout spot, and then you see over the last 2 or 3 years, the city of LA, because they're trying to gentrify us out of here, they closed down the black kick-it spots. The Ladera Center, Magic Johnson bought the Ladera Center in 2000. He brought in Fat Burger, Starbucks, and the TGI Fridays. And that's where niggas hung out, up in that Starbucks. Then the city of LA said, you know what? We're going to shut the Starbucks down because we're tired of you niggas always hanging out at the Starbucks. We got white folks coming over here now, so we tired of y'all playing dominoes and chess. So they shut down Starbucks. Black people have one beach in LA. It's called Dockweiler Beach. My white friends that live in Manhattan Beach, or have one of the white homies tell me the white people in Manhattan Beach call Dockweiler Ethnic Beach. Because the whole city knows Dockweiler is where the niggas hang out. Right under LAX. You're going to hear 747 going over your head every 3 minutes. But you're going to be tasting jet fuel. But that's where black people hung out. Because Venice was always touristy. And back in the day, Venice had the shoreline Crips. So niggas wasn't really trying to fuck with the shoreline. Venice is an area, it was a funny area. Because in Venice Beach, you had the shoreline Crips, you had the Mexican Cholo gangs, and you had Nazi gangs all living within a 1 square mile of each other, on top of each other. That's where things are. That's where things are different. And so you'll get a touristy person. They'll come to Santa Monica and Venice Beach because that's where the TV says to go. And they'll be like, black people this, black people that. No. If you went to Santa Monica Beach, you probably was at the beach with some other people who ain't from here either. Because the niggas is down at Dockweiler. So yeah. You can't get people who ain't from here talking about here and get an accurate depiction of what's going on here. Nobody, respectfully, my brother Black, nobody in LA hangs out in downtown. Every time I see my man come to LA, he's always in downtown. Downtown's a shithole. You're right, my wife said, look, ever since they built Staples Center opened up in the year 2000. Well, 1999, when Lakers started there. Late 99 when Staples Center opened up. Since 99, they've been trying to make downtown an attractive place for people in LA. They've been wanting downtown to be the kicking spot since 1999. Look, people, LA niggas have never fucked with downtown. That's where all your implant motherfuckers go to. If you want to be totally confused and clueless as to how LA is run, go to downtown LA. No. The only reason why LA niggas go to downtown is to watch Laker games and get some cheap jewelry in the jewelry district. Nigga go to the alley to get some cheap materials, and we get the fuck up on out of there. Don't nobody in LA fuck with downtown. You're not gonna get an accurate depiction of LA by what's going on in downtown. Fuck out of here. We don't fuck with no downtown in LA. So when I saw my man sitting reporting from downtown, I know LA. I'm like, oh, nigga, you around a whole bunch of other motherfuckers who ain't from LA. And I don't care if they live there. I don't care if they've been living there for 20 years. Cause ain't nobody born and raised in LA where all this land openness gonna move to no concrete jungle like downtown. That's what people, downtown is comfortable, is a place for people from the East Coast who are used to these concrete jungles. That's where the fuck they move. People who don't want to drive a car and work in one of them law firms in downtown LA. LA niggas don't fuck with downtown. Free Pound said downtown's for immigrant peddlers. Facts. 4 pound. That's the comment of downtown in the other chat. Downtown is for the immigrant peddlers. Man, I'm like, fuck with no downtown. So you can't come to LA talking about you the authority on LA and you in downtown and you went to the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza to see what was going on and you went to Compton. Nigga, Mexicans have been outnumbering niggas in Compton since the late 90s, motherfucker. Oh, New Wave, you went to Comfort LA? Oh, hell no, you went to Skid Row. Comfort LA is a dope-ass little black-owned spot once you get inside of it. They let you smoke weed on the patio on their Sunday afternoon kicking events. But you won't have to trip over at least 17 homeless motherfuckers from your car to that front door. Look, here's another thing about LA. LA has been slowly gentrified over the last 30 years. Slowly. What we see right now is gentrification in hyper. Done. Thank you, Eduardo. Best podcast. I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that. I just want to get the information, pass it along. LA has its phases. In the 90s is when they opened up San Bernardino. Late 80s is when they opened up San Bernardino, Riverside, and they started opening up. Moreno Valley they started doing Moreno Valley more so in the 90s. That's a little further east of San Bernardino and Riverside. They started in San Bernardino and Riverside in the 80s, opening that area up. And cheap houses. You can buy a house in 1989 out in Riverside, for $60,000, $70,000. When houses in LA were going for at the time $130,000 to be like in the ghetto hood. You know what I mean? So like, okay, do I buy a 3-bedroom house where niggas are getting shot up every day? Or do I drive an hour east and get a house out there? At the time, it wasn't much traffic. You know what I mean? You get a house for $60,000, two stories. So black people started going Riverside, San Bernardino, and then as the 90s came, they started to open up Moreno Valley in Paris. And then to the east. And to the north, Palmdale and Lancaster started to open up. And so you started to see a slow migration of black people leaving the city to go to safer places because, right, the hood was hot. I thank God for my parents. My parents was good enough to leave the hood and go up to View Park, where it was just black people with money, but we never had to leave the hood. We never had to leave LA. We just moved to a part of LA that had a black part of LA that had more money, and we were able to stay here in LA and at the same time avoid a lot of the hood shenanigans. So people started to move out to Palmdale, Lancaster. And then in the early 2000s, LA did some slick shit. What they did was, for those who are on Section 8, they stopped handing out Section 8 vouchers for the city of LA. So if you're on Section 8, you had to now move out to Palmdale and Lancaster. And this went on from about 2002 till about 2012. About a 10-year period where the city was like, look, if you already got a Section 8 voucher, if you can find another house within the city, cool, you can do it. But if you're new to Section 8, we move your punk ass out to Palmdale and Lancaster, about an hour north. And if y'all heard Tariq's recent broadcast, he talked about the Rex 84 centers that are out there and the internment camps that are out there. I like to visit out there, but I ain't living out there. And you're right, Eduardo, Jay-Z, you must live in Brooklyn. Jay-Z did help gentrify your hood. Jay-Z did do that to y'all. Magic brought businesses to LA. Jay-Z gentrified y'all. Jay-Z fucked y'all up in New York. And again, this broadcast isn't about talking about LA's superiority. That's not what this shit is about. It's about bringing clarity. Because I'm born and raised here, and I'm tired of my place where I was born and raised always being constantly misrepresented by people who ain't from here, who don't know how shit go down. I'm just clarifying shit in this city, and you'll see how it operates in your city. The same shit going on in LA happens in your city too. It just happens in a different way, but it's the same shit. Every city knows how to unfurl its debauchery on its black population in the way that's going to be least resistant to the black people in that city. Everything I'm talking about is happening all over. I'm talking about how it happened here. That's all this is about. That's all we talking about. This ain't no superiority shit, because at the end of the day, if you're black in America, if you're black in the world, you are under the thumb of white supremacy. So I'm not here to have no plantation battle over whose plantation was worse, whose plantation's better, whose plantation's superior. It's still a fucking plantation. So let's get that straight. On the LA plantation, you started to see them stop passing out Section 8 vouchers in LA, and they pushed everyone out there to Palmdale. To the point to where they got LA now weak enough, they got black people spread out enough, we're segregated enough to where then they can then start wholesale changing our neighborhood. Insert the last two train lines. That train line going down Crenshaw Boulevard. Do y'all know that train line, when it's going through the Asian part of Crenshaw, through Koreatown, through the Korean part of Crenshaw, do you know that thing is a subway? That train doesn't become above ground until it passes the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza and gets to Crenshaw and Vernon. That's when it comes above ground. What's that, Crenshaw and Vernon? Well, between Crenshaw and Vernon and Crenshaw and Florence is where you literally have all of these black businesses. And let me take you back. Even though it's a subway further up Crenshaw, it's a subway at Crenshaw, Rodeo, Crenshaw, and that area, it's still black businesses there. It took like 5 years. For the last 5 years, they've been having all that part of Crenshaw closed down. So for the black businesses that are there, where it's been a subway, they still had the street closed down. So a lot of them black businesses is gone. And this is before the coronavirus. They bring it above ground, and then it goes above ground all the way through Crenshaw Slauson, all the way to Crenshaw Florence. That's where the Marathon Shop was. That's where Woody's Barbecue is. That's where, when Nipsey opened up a Fat Burger right there, that's black business mecca. That train came after 30 years of soft gentrification. The train wouldn't have been as effective had they put it down the middle in 1991, when that shit was all black. They waited till enough niggas moved out the city and enough Mexicans, Asians, and others and whites came in to then put the final nail in the coffin as to how they're going to gentrify that part of LA. Yeah. See, Ross, same thing in Cleveland. Yep. You said same way in Cleveland. With Section 8, if you get Section 8, you have to move 30, 45 minutes or an hour away. See? Same shit. That's why I'm having this conversation with y'all. We need to have these kind of conversations about where we come from, because one thing that we do as black people, we get into these pissing contests over whose hood is worse, whose city is better, who has the best style, who has the best music, yada, 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 plantation babble. My city's more cold than your city. I ain't got time for that shit. I'm here to solve problems. And I'm talking about the problems in my city because through talking about these problems, we can then, as a people, get together and do something about solving these problems. But as long as niggas is in a dick swinging contest about their region of the country being a better plantation than another region of the country, you end up with a bunch of bullshit. And then they end up talking shit about other cities and getting it all wrong. You didn't see me talking about New York and talking about these other places and acting as if I know what the fuck is going on in those areas, because I don't. I know generally some things going on, but as far as the intricacies, the underlying workings of how that goes on, I don't understand it. So that means it's not on me to break down and judge it, since I don't understand it. I want to open this up to y'all in the chat room. Give me some questions. We've been here for 2 hours. Thank y'all. Hotepish.com. Get your shit. I'm over here getting a call from a number I do not recognize, so I'm not gonna answer it. Hit the Cash App. Hit the Cash App. Oh, thank you, Q. I got the Cash App. Thank you, Q, for the Cash App donation. Drop yours in the Cash App if you feel so inclined. If you don't, then don't. I ain't tripping. But if you do, I'm going to take the money and put it right back into this broadcast. Y'all see how we upgrade every time we do it. Y'all see how we upgrade. It's always something new coming. Because I'm always making this a better experience for all of us. And also let me know if y'all want me to install a phone line. I'm thinking about taking phone calls on certain episodes. Not every episode, but I'll be listening to Jason Black, and y'all calling into Jason, man. Y'all with some dumbass comments, man. I'm kind of afraid to open up my line because this should be very specific. Because Brother Jason Black be preaching when he come in and talking in his news. When he's talking about news and different things, he be spitting, talking that real shit. Then you got somebody calling in, well, my mama said back when she was in jail that she had that black people had two. What the fuck are you talking about, nigga? We talking about business, and this nigga talking about his mama's toe jam. Like, niggas be calling in with the weirdest shit. So that's kind of why I'm hesitant on opening up my phone lines. When I open up my phone lines, I'm gonna want the conversation to stick to what the fuck we talking about. And niggas be on weirdo shit when they see a whole bunch of black people aggregated together and a whole bunch of people listening. That's when you get them lonely niggas who ain't used to getting the crowd come calling in and start talking about a whole bunch of dumb shit. So let me know if y'all want, because I don't mind installing a phone line, but just let me know you guys' interest in me doing that. Because it has to be high interest. If the interest ain't high, I ain't doing it. Because I don't want to deal with a whole bunch of dumb niggas calling in. The Russell 50 says, any middle class neighborhoods left in LA? No. Well, put it like that, I was looking for houses this morning. It's middle, if you know where to go, but it depends on what you call middle class, because I was looking at houses in Gardena, houses that in a normal market would go for $430,000, $300,000. They now going for $850,000. You know, I was looking at houses in the Crenshaw district that used to go for the mid threes, mid fours. Now they going for $950,000. So, you know, you need a good $1 million to buy a house, a 3-bedroom. You need a solid $1 million to buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house in South LA right now. You need a cool $1 million for the hood. And I ain't even getting into talking to you guys about. I'm gonna do another broadcast on the gentrification that white people are facing from these tech people. The marina's all fucked up. It used to be old white people in the marina. Now all them old white people are having to move to the Crenshaw district because in the marina, where it used to cost $3,000 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment, now that because they knocked them older, bigger places down, now for a smaller, newer but smaller 2-bedroom apartment that used to run $2,000 on the same lot of real estate, that same apartment is now $5,900 a month on the low end. So like, people in Beverly Hills are complaining about getting G'd about their spot by the uber rich. Like you literally have white people in Beverly Hills complaining about richer people coming in, buying up 2 lots. They've had to create ordinances to where people couldn't come in and buy 2 lots, knock both houses down and build a super mansion. Super mansions were kind of a thing in the 2010s, but there have been ordinances passed to stop these super mansions from getting built. So yeah, you gotta have a lot of fucking money to live in the city now if you want to buy something. Oh, Santa Monica. Oh yeah, my wife just talking about. You got white folks complaining about the Santa Monica Municipal Airport. They're about to shut down the Santa Monica Airport in 2021 because new white people with rich money don't want to hear planes. So they're about to shut down a whole fucking airport and build a whole bunch of more rich ass houses. And mind you, this is an area of Santa Monica who, when I did real estate back in the early 2000s, those houses back then were running for about $800,000 to $1.2 million back in the early 2000s. Now those same houses on the low end are running $3 million. And we talking about 4-bedroom, 2-bath. Nothing special. But yeah, you might get one on the low for $2.3 million. You might. What other questions we got here in the chat room? Yeah, downtown does smell like pee. Yes, LA Confidential is a good early depiction of early LA. LA Confidential is. Yeah, back in the LA, like my LA Confidential, my grandfather vouched for that movie. So since my grandfather lived in LA during the time of LA Confidential, I'm gonna say yeah. What y'all talking about in the chat room? Whether East LA has sales middle class. Look, even East LA is getting gentrified. When I was driving Uber last year, I was talking to some Mexican. I did a drop off in East LA, and they were talking about white people coming into East LA, G'ing people out. Here's what I gotta say about the neighborhood. Look, LA is very segregated. When I say segregated, black people can't live in every area of LA. Niggas can't live in East LA, man. You got the Mexican white supremacists and the white supremacists over there. It's one thing if it's a whole bunch of black people. One thing about LA, when the Mexicans get the numbers, they start doing shit and they have the backing of law enforcement. That's the difference. It's not as if they're better or better military force. We beat the shit out of them. But they have contacts within the police department that will back up their debauchery that the black people don't have, because black police officers aren't allowed to have gangs and do underhanded shit. They'll be fired so fast. So it's not even an option for black people to move to East LA, nor would you want to move to East LA. I appreciate that. Love my show, Queen. I appreciate you for listening. Oh, that's a good question, Tasha. Why is there gates all around the shopping centers with LA grocery stores? I think a lot of that stuff came out like during the 80s and 90s when cats used to just go up in there and hit shit and run out. They put a gate up, they can block off the exit so your ass can't go and take what the fuck they got from that store and get out so easily. But you're right about that, Tyler. They always got gates around shit out here. You're right, they've been complaining about the Santa Monica Airport for years. Millionaires complaining about billionaires. That's what's going on. Send me your questions here in the chat room. Because, oh yes, Mark by Smith says, do certain areas trip over what colors you have? That's a great question. That's a great question because I do want to address that. colors were a big thing out here in the 90s, in the 80s. But colors ain't really like that no more, man. Look, let me tell you the truth. Even back in the 80s, I grew up in the Blood area. BPS, the Black Pea Stones out of Chicago, set up shop in the jungles here in LA. I grew up in the Black Pea Stones hood. They was Bloods. And I'm talking about 1988, 89. I still wore blue. 92, 93, 96, 97. Because I was a square. Niggas recognize squares. Niggas know if you a square. Now, square don't mean punk. It definitely don't mean that. They know I'm a square relative to banging. But they also see how I carry myself and see I'm no one to be fucked with. And when you carry yourself that way, you can wear the fuck color you want to wear. You just have to have respect. Because Blood niggas wear blue, Crip niggas wear red, depending on what day it is. It's not so much what color you're wearing, it's what you're wearing and how you're wearing it and how you carrying yourself. That's more important, how you carry yourself, how you wear what you wear. Now, would I go over there to a Crip neighborhood in some white chucks and with big ass thick red shoelaces? Hell no. That's just stupid. No. But if I happen to have my red and white Jordan 3s on, my white and red Jordan 3s, I used to work. Look, I used to work at my job. I would be in the Jordan Downs. I would be at Jordan High School on 103rd in Alameda in my white and red J's all the fucking time. In my red and black Kobe's, I'd be in the Nickerson Gardens all the time seeing my clients. Not because I'm some OG, this or that. It's because of how I carry myself. And niggas saw that, oh yeah, he ain't, that's a square nigga. Don't trip. All that color shit you be hearing about, that be all these niggas that be all these all-deaf digital comics, these corny ass niggas that move from their corny ass city, always gonna repeat these corny ass jokes. These corny ass jokes that stopped being funny in 1993. These niggas is still playing because they saw Def Jam and saw somebody do it. Now all these corny ass comics y'all see doing these corny ass sketches about LA, got these corny ass jokes, and they make these corny ass niggas from across the world laugh because these corny ass niggas don't know any better. But LA niggas see these corny ass sketches and be like, get the fuck up out of here. As a matter of fact, I'm not gonna mention no names, but there was certain all deaf comics that y'all know now, very prominent, that before all deaf became a thing, they used to come down to LA trying some of them jokes. And I had to save a few of the niggas from getting their ass beat for real. Because LA niggas don't like being patronized and talked about. Nigga, that gang life is real for those who are in it. That's why you don't hear me talk. I only speak about it in a respectful manner. Because it has a different vibe than you niggas is used to hearing. These niggas ain't a bunch of animals out. They ain't a bunch of savages out to kill the next person that they see. LA street niggas is about their money, to tell you the truth. They're about their bread. They gonna kill and fuck with any nigga that's gonna get in the way of that. All them little corny ass jokes about niggas talking and wearing these colors. Get the fuck up out of here. Where the fuck, what color you wanna wear? Just watch how you wearing it. I would take certain baseball, like don't wear a Houston Astros cap. And be in the wrong neighborhood. Don't wear a Seattle Mariners cap. Seattle Mariners means 60s. You know, make sure you wear if you wear a LA Dodgers cap, you free in it. You free anywhere. If you wear anything Lakers or Dodgers, you free to roam anywhere in LA. Like they have certain baseball cap rules, but even that, you know what I mean? Fuck you doing certain places anyway. So yeah, them color shit, that's a whole bunch of sensationalism that niggas like to repeat so they can sound hard. Nigga, you ain't hard. Most of them niggas talking that shit ain't. And then another thing about LA, every hood only got one or two shooters. The rest of these niggas is running their goddamn mouth. It's only 1 or 2 niggas that's actually gonna shoot somebody. Now, 20 niggas will go to jail because LA got these RICO gang injunction laws to where if one nigga shoot, every nigga on that block go to jail. Yeah, that does happen. That's very true. But it be a whole bunch of niggas that be putting all kind of extra shit on, trying to make you niggas that ain't from here seem as if this some extra golden. No, LA is like any other hood. And I don't care what, every city I've gone to, and niggas can vouch for this. Every city I've ever gone to when I travel, I've always gone to the hood. Whether it be Houston, Larry was laughing because when I was in Houston, I was like, man, show me that 3rd ward, nigga. Let's go. New Orleans, 5th ward, all them little wards, Andre Ward, name the ward, nigga, Cedrick Ward, where the fuck ward is in that city, I'm going to it. Been to the hood in Minneapolis, been to the hood in Cleveland. And let me tell you, Miami, Dallas, my family from South Dallas, Oak Cliff. Let me tell you something about the hood, man. It's the same rules wherever you go. Have some motherfucking respect for the people. Have some respect for yourself. Respect the people, respect yourself. People that likely respect you. You come in looking like a scary hoe ass nigga, then yeah, the people who are about that life gonna see you as bait and probably do something. Bubbly Bubbles asks, is there any black unity in LA? Yeah, there's black unity. There's black unity with those who want to be united. Just like there's black unity in Chicago, New York, Detroit, Baltimore. There's plenty of black unity amongst those who have a mindset of unity. Just like other places, there's a black class of undermining. We got sorry ass councilmen like Mark Ridley Thomas who sell us out over and over and over again. We got Maxine Waters who cares more about the Mexicans than she do the black people. You know what I mean? Yeah, so we got that too. You got your people who undermine, but I'll tell you this, being someone who lived a lot of my life in View Park and Ladera Heights and Baldwin Hills, I will tell you this, the black people were bred in those neighborhoods, they generally get along very well, famously, stick along well. You don't have crime in View Park, unless it's somebody from outside the area coming in doing some scrupulous shit. All right, in View Park, we could tell our neighbors we're gonna be going to Vegas, we're gonna be doing this, we're gonna be doing that, and look out for one another. When we have watch parties, we have block parties, we have like LA. Look, man, I've had a lot of united dope shit happen here, like especially where the more money, the more unity you do see in the city. I will say that. The more money, the more unity you see. I will say that. Niggas with bread out here kind of do look out for each other's back because we know what we up against out here in this city of LA. What other questions do y'all have in here? Well, yeah. Let me see here. Yeah, you said, Five said, I always heard a lot of the black Caribbeans created a lot of the gangs. Not that yet there is truth to that. There's a lot of Caribbean influence, and not just Caribbean, Belizean influence. Because it was like I think it was like in the early 80s, late 70s, they imported over 60,000 people from Belize to LA. You do have a lot of Belize, like you when you saw them drive-by, you did see a lot of Belizean flags on them rearview mirrors in them drive-bys in LA. Yeah, a lot of what they say attribute to Black LA is really, a lot of that shit really is a lot of the black immigrant class that came here. Let's see. He said, Jeff Brown said, don't wear red chucks and a marching band bandana out your back pocket. That's fact. That's fact. Now, because if you do that, Jeff, anyone who do that, they trolling. Now, if you trolling, you'll get fucked up. Don't troll these niggas. Just how the fuck cornball way you dress at home. Everybody know how a cornball dress. Dress like that. Or just regular. Don't try to dress like on some extra street shit. You know, we will know you're not from here. Yeah. Baltimore in the building. That's what's up. Yeah, you're right. Maxine Waters does have a James Brown wig. Maxine Waters looks like a retired Muppet. Oh, he said unity. 4 pounds said unity in the gated communities by the form. You talking about the Briarwood Estates? I never really fucked with them like that. I know it was always like the nigga in LA. Every nigga that stayed up in them gated communities like Briarwood and Carlton Palace, it was a Carlton place, something like that. Them niggas are always a little extra snooty. Like, nigga, if you don't sit your ass down there, you still in Inglewood, nigga. You're right, you're snooty for no reason. Like, all them gated community niggas, like, I live in Carlton Square. Nigga, you stay behind the Great Western Forum. A nigga got killed on Manchester and Crenshaw, just motherfucking 1/4 mile outside that Carlton Square. Sit your snooty ass down, nigga. Oh, that's good point, Chris Thomas. Talk about the black people in Ladera that stopped the development of the 90 freeway from coming down Slauson. I'm glad you brought that up because it was not only Ladera, it was also further down Slauson. I remember my grandmother talking about that because I told you my grandparents thought 58th and Broadway. 58th is just 1 block north of Slauson. Mind you, I've spent literally my whole life in LA, either 1 block off Slauson or 1 block off Crenshaw. Like when I look at everywhere I lived, I've always lived either a block off or a few blocks off Slauson or a few blocks off Crenshaw. But my grandmother would tell me about that, how they wanted to build a freeway down Slauson, but the black residents from Ladera Heights through the east side said, fuck no. Y'all already built the 110, fucking up that part of the community. Y'all not about to build another freeway down Slauson, separating the community. Black people banded together and we said, hell no, we got that freeway not built. Now what they did was, they just said, okay, I got you niggas, I just go a little further south. And they built the 105 and destroyed that black neighborhood. And then when they made the 105 freeway, I got a joke about this on stage in my comedy. I only say this joke in LA because it only makes sense in LA. But the 105 freeway is a very racist freeway. I want y'all to look that shit up, the 105 freeway. Because if you go east on 105 freeway, when you go west by LAX, you got a whole bunch of exits. Nash, Sepulveda, La Cienega, the 405 freeway. In about a half a mile, you got 4 exits before the freeway ends. But then when you go east towards the black neighborhoods, you got to exit at Prairie. And then a half mile of the Prairie, you got to exit at Crenshaw. And then after you pass Crenshaw, they have an exit every 3 miles on the 105. My wife gave me this punchline. They said, we built this freeway. We didn't build this freeway for you niggas. We built this freeway to get through you niggas. Because the 105 starts at the beach and it goes east till you get to the 605 freeway. And when it's going through the black neighborhoods, there's no exit on Western, no exit on Normandy, no exit on Hoover, no exit on Broadway, no exit on motherfucking Avalon, no exit on Santa Fe, no exit on Alameda. They literally go through the width of the hood from Inglewood through South Central to Linwood, and it's only 3 exits for that whole stretch. And then when you get off at Wilmington, they have an exit at Central, but then you get off at Wilmington. Wilmington is in the middle of Watts. If you go to the right, you in Compton. If you go to the left, you in Watts. They have space for 4 lanes on that exit. Guess how many lanes they have on that exit? 2. 1 north, 1 south. Mind you, the whole hood only got 3 exits to share for the whole hood. So the niggas getting off at Wilmington don't necessarily need to go down Wilmington. That's the exit you get off if you want to get off. If you want to go down Alameda, if you want to go down Santa Fe, not Santa Fe. If you want to go down Alameda, if you want to go down Compton, if you want to go down any of those streets, you got to exit Wilmington. They only have 1 lane each way for the niggas. That's outrageous. That's how, think about it. How petty do you have to be to build a freeway and destroy a whole neighborhood and not even put exits for the people in that neighborhood to use? And then when you do put an exit, you only use one lane. That's some racist, petty shit, you honkies. Yeah, meanwhile, we go over to El Segundo where the Raytheon building is, where the DirecTV building is, where the Los Angeles Times building is. For those of you, when you fly into LAX and look to the left, when you look to the left, that's south, you'll see a row of buildings. In between, they literally have entrances to their freeway that are exclusive to those businesses that are only being used between 9 and 5 during the week. But they couldn't build an exit on Western. Nigga, Western is a main artery for Black LA. All of Black LA need to use Western for something. Yeah. So yeah, that's what the fuck is this city's about. What other questions do y'all have? You're right, Shawnee, used to be the Hughes building. Bubbly Bubbles asked, good question. What about the LA school system? It ain't shit. It ain't shit. If there's anybody who knows about the LA, not to brag, but yeah, I'm bragging. You ain't gonna find too many people who knows more about the LA school system than me. I am the foremost authority on how the LA Unified School System works. Why am I the foremost authority on how the LA Unified School System works? The LA Unified School System educated me. I didn't go to a charter school. I didn't get bussed out to a different city. I went to the LA Unified Schools, K through 12. And then in my profession, when I worked at Hathaway Sycamores, I worked as a case manager who worked with LA Unified School District. I got to see the LA Unified School District in and out. I got to see how the LA Unified School District fucked us over. So through that experience, I created this company you see here on the screen right here. Breakthrough Advocacy Services, Communication Solutions. Why did I create that company? Because I saw how the city of LA was screwing over our black children through the IEP system and how they purposely took funding from our school system and put it directly into the prison system. That's what California is on since 1971. Every dollar that came from the school system went to the prison system. So I created Breakthrough Advocacy Services as a means to get black children resources promised to them through federal law, but not given to them because the LA Unified School District is the gatekeeper. They want to keep those federal resources for themselves and not pass it down to the children. So I created Breakthrough Advocacy Services so I can get those resources to my black children through the IEP system. Yeah, I'm a nigga that saw the problems with the LA Unified School District. And I want to give a shout out to Tariq Nasheed in his Hidden Colors series, because I had already been working that school district and been through it. But when I saw Dr. Francis Cress Welsing on Hidden Colors, I think it's Hidden Colors 2 or 1 of those Hidden Colors, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and Dr. Kaba Kamene started talking about the education system. And through what they were saying, and Dr. Umar too, he said some things. Through the things that they were saying, I was able to see my job more clear than I had ever seen it before. Like, that's what's going on. This shit is systemic. And once I realized it was systemic, instead of running around talking about, we need to get together, what black folks need to do is, I said, fuck that. I'm going to create a company and I'm going to fix this shit. Because I'm seeing the issues that they're talking about in Hidden Colors right here in front of me every day I go to work. So I'm going to create this side company and do some shit to fix it. And it went from a side company to a full company that I own now. That's still open. Breakthroughas.org. The website ain't up right now because it's still getting worked on. But info@breakthroughas.org is my email address. If you want to know anything regarding on how to navigate your children through the school system, info@breakthroughas.org is where you go. Also, relationship coaching. I'm about to start my meetup group. Y'all be liking my posts. I talk about how much fun I have with my wife, how like we be having fun and have a stress-free, ain't nothing stress-free, you're gonna have your stress, how to deal with the stress and still make the love paramount, number one. My crash course is coming soon. Email me info@breakthroughas.org for the meetup group. So I'm gonna start off with just a general meetup group that's gonna be free just for you guys to come and sit around and ask questions, and we can chop it up and build for about an hour a month. And then from there, I have my services that we can talk about at an hourly rate. Because I'm a professional at this shit. I ain't some nigga that just running my goddamn mouth. So, yeah, all these issues that I'm talking about, I created companies to solve these issues on a first-hand basis because I see what's going on. So instead of crying about it, let's fix this shit. Matter of fact, if y'all want to, y'all can go to my go look for Breakthrough Advocacy Services on Google reviews. I got a bunch of 5-star reviews. As a matter of fact, I got a review. Like, I had an old parent hit me up the other day. I got a text message like from a parent that hit me up. Let me see what this text message is. I'm gonna put this shit on my website when the website is finally up. But this is what a parent from a former client said in a text message. One of my clients, this particular kid wasn't going to school, 7th, 8th grade, black boy, wasn't going to class, wasn't listening, wasn't paying attention. Why? Because black people, black boys especially, by the time they get to the 6th grade, by the time they really get to the 5th grade, they're totally checked out of school. School has nothing for them. School has already done what it's done to disconnect them from the joys of learning. So they just totally dismiss everything they hear. So this particular child was getting fails, D's. That's if he even decides to take the test. He came into my Breakthrough Advocacy program, Buy In, Don't Drop Out, where I teach and help young men and women buy into school so that they don't drop out. And what Buy In, Don't Drop Out is giving them the underlying reasons as to why they're there. Communication solution. Basically communicating to the little niggas, look, yeah, school is fucked up, it's boring, and it ain't built for you. But by law, you still gotta go. So since you gotta go, this is how we're gonna mine and extract resources out of the school system that's gonna benefit us for the rest of our lives. I have a whole program designed around communicating this to children to get them to then motivate themselves to go back and finish school and then use what they learned in school to fulfill their deepest desires. This is what a mom texted me from a kid that I haven't worked with in about a year and a half. She said her son went from failing and getting D's to getting a letter from a magnet school that he's now qualified to attend based on his grade point average and based on how engaged he is in school. It felt so dope getting that text message from this parent because I didn't teach that little nigga to be a coon and say, hey, I'm going to do this and be the next Barack Obama and go and give my talents to white people. No. I taught a little man, look, school ain't shit, but don't nobody care about you but your mama. So all this putting on this extra shit, nobody going to be listening to you. So you may as well discipline yourself right now, get what you can get out this school and get the fuck on. And when I explained that to him in a way a 12-year-old boy can understand, he then found ways to buy into school for himself and find motivating reasons for himself to go. Now little niggas in motherfucking magnet school. And when he gets into that magnet school and when he becomes a businessman, he's going to be a businessman who lends his talent and supports his people. Because that's what I do at Breakthrough Advocacy Services. So yeah, but yeah, I'm about I thank y'all for joining me. We've been on here 2 hours and 40 minutes and y'all still rocking with me. I appreciate y'all for listening, But I can go all day. I'm gonna bring more. I'm gonna talk this topic again. I'm gonna talk this topic again because there's so much more ways we can go with this. But I thank y'all for joining the chat room. I thank y'all for listening. Go to breakthroughas.org. Well, not the website. Go to info@breakthroughas.org if you want to know more about my meetup group and my private one-on-one sessions. Hotepish.com. Black people don't owe anybody anything but an ass whooping. These shirts are selling like hotcakes. Get yours. Get yours. Because people like that real shit. Dr. John Henry Clark was a real one. So I had to get one of his realest quotes. Fuller Clark, Welsing, Van Sertima, and Binyakana. Get that shirt. My next broadcast, I'm gonna talk about LA music and shit like that. But I wanted to clear this up, man, because like I said, this is no shot across the bow at anybody. It's just pointing out the fact that look, you have shows out here talking about LA and trying to make these wholesale judgments and conclusions about LA, and they don't know what the fuck they talking about. And I'm tired of motherfuckers who don't know what the fuck they talking about in reference to LA, talking shit about this city. Because now that you got the real deal, now that you got it from the real point of view, you can now see how the shit that I'm talking about in this city is going on in your city. And what you can do, and if it ain't going in your city yet, it's coming. You'll be able to recognize it when you see it because of the game and information that we dropped on here today. Oh, what's up, Tanya Park? You received a cup. Oh, yeah, you got the Incense and Ashtrays cup. Thank you. Thank you for ordering that cup. So, yeah, we about to be up out of here. Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for listening. And email me. Let me know if you want me to start opening up the phone calls. I will if y'all say y'all want it. But if it's a whole bunch of bullshit-ass calls, I'm shutting the lines down right away. Thank you, Lovelace, for joining the chat room. Peace, Azure. Peace, Jeffrey. Peace, Gail. Ben, thank y'all for joining us. Remember this, there are no perfect messengers, only perfect messages. For those who are willing to pick up the game, we out.